The most dangerous fraud in modern finance did not arrive with a mask. It arrived in a suit with soft manners, clean offices, and a name so trusted that rich people stopped asking hard questions. This is Saul. And the first thing to know about Bernard Madoff is that he did not look like a threat to the people who gave him their money. That was the weapon. He looked safe. He looked old school. He looked almost dull. In a world full of loud traders and hungry salesmen, dull felt like protection. His firm sat inside the polished machine of New York finance. He had been linked to market making. He had served as a chairman of NASDAQ. He knew the rooms, the words, the handshakes, the code of wealthy trust. And he understood one brutal fact. The rich do not only buy returns, they buy peace, they buy access. They buy the feeling that someone else has already checked the danger. That feeling became the trap. Madoff did not sell a wild dream in the cheap way people expect from a scam. His genius was restraint. The returns looked smooth, too smooth, but not loud enough to scare people at first. Month after month, year after year, the account statements seemed calm. While other funds rose and fell with the market, his numbers appeared to move through chaos like they were above it. To a cold eye, that calm was the warning. To a hungry eye, it was the invitation. Money moved through a social bloodstream: Palm Beach dinners, private clubs, charity boards, family offices, feeder funds. Quiet calls between people who trusted each other. This was not a fraud sold to random strangers. It moved through circles where a name could pass as proof. If one wealthy family was inside, the next felt safer. If an advisor approved it, doubt became smaller. If access seemed limited, desire became sharper. That is how exclusivity turns into anesthesia. People were not just investing, they were being admitted. The fact that not everyone could get in made the door feel more valuable. Scarcity did not protect them, it seduced them. Madoff's aura was built partly on the idea that he did not need you. And few things are more powerful than a money door that seems to be doing you a favor by opening. Inside the illusion, the machine was crude. New money helped pay old withdrawals. Paper gains lived on account statements. The profit existed because people believed it existed, and because fresh cash kept the surface smooth. The fraud did not have to beat truth each day. It only had to delay truth long enough for trust to keep feeding it. But there were cracks. Some people questioned the steady returns. Harry Markopoulos, a fraud investigator and analyst, warned for years that the numbers did not make sense. The returns were too smooth. The claimed method was too vague. The trading volume looked impossible. The warnings existed, but the shield around Madoff was thick. Status has gravity. It bends suspicion away from the center. The rich saw other rich people inside the room and took that as a sign. In truth, it was only a mirror. Each client was not proof of safety. Each client was more fuel for the same fire. That is one of the darkest parts of this story. The weak did not protect the fraud, the respected did. Banks, funds, advisors, rich clients, and social networks built a corridor of borrowed trust. Each new layer made the lie harder to challenge. Nobody wanted to look foolish by asking why so many smart people had missed something so basic. Then came the moment every Ponzi scheme fears: withdrawals. A fraud built on belief can survive whispers, doubt, and nervous calls. What it cannot survive is too many people asking for cash at once. When markets turned violent and clients needed money, the machine met the oldest law in finance. Belief is not liquidity, a statement is not cash. A number on paper cannot walk out the door unless real money is there to follow it. The calm finally broke. Madoff told his sons the business was a fraud. Soon after, he was arrested. The empire that had seemed stable, elite, and almost untouchable was revealed as a hollow room full of promises. The shock did not hit only one kind of victim. Rich families were damaged, charities were wounded, foundations were shaken, retirees and institutions that thought they were shielded by access to power found themselves staring at a brutal absence. The money was not where the paper said it was. That line is simple. It is also savage. A financial fraud does not only steal capital, it steals time, it steals memory. It turns years of planning into fiction. It turns gifts to charity into wounds. It makes a family question every choice built on false numbers. It does not just empty accounts. It poisons the story people told themselves about their own judgment. Madoff's power came from a cruel asymmetry. His clients had to trust the whole structure. He only had to manage how the structure looked. They saw statements. He saw the gap between ink and truth. They saw social proof. He saw dependence. They saw calm. He saw a machine that needed new cash to keep breathing. This is where the story becomes more than greed. Greed was there, of course. Some investors wanted steady gain with no pain. Some wanted the quiet miracle. But many were not chasing madness. They were seeking safety. That is what makes the fraud more disturbing. It did not only exploit appetite, it exploited the wish to feel safe under the roof of status. Status is meant to shorten judgment, a famous name, a clean office, a powerful friend, a respected fund. Each one becomes a shortcut. Shortcuts feel smart until they become blindfolds. The elite are often seen as hard to fool. In one way, they can be easier. They trust networks. They trust reputation. They trust the soft nod of being in the same room as other important people. When fraud comes through that door, it does not look like danger. It looks like belonging. That is why Madoff's tone mattered. He did not act like a wild prophet. He acted like a man who had already won. He performed calm. He performed order. He offered the rarest drug in finance, steady certainty, no wild swings, no hard questions, no ugly noise, just the quiet sense that someone had solved the mess of markets. But volatility is not destroyed. It is hidden, delayed, or passed to someone else. In Madoff's case, it was delayed until the whole illusion could no longer hold. When the scheme fell, courts measured losses, recovered funds, and sorted the wreckage. But the deeper wound could not be priced so neatly. People had not just trusted one manager. They had trusted the judgment of their whole social world. And that is the shame rich circles fear most. Not just losing money, finding out that the room itself was blind. A normal scammer asks you to believe him. A sharper scammer makes you believe everyone else already has. That was the design. Not brilliance in trading, brilliance in trust extraction. Madoff borrowed faith from one person and sold it to the next. He turned social proof into oxygen. He made doubt feel rude, access feel rare, and due diligence feel almost vulgar. This is status psychology at its most lethal. When trust is borrowed from reputation instead of checked against reality, even the powerful become easy prey. The deepest danger was not that one man lied. Men lie. The deeper danger was that an entire class of smart people mistook proximity for proof. That mistake is older than markets. It lives anywhere power gathers around polished surfaces. It lives in private clubs, boardrooms, family offices, charity galas, investment dinners, and quiet rooms where nobody wants to ask the ugly question. And that is the final shadow in this story. Madoff did not defeat intelligence. He stepped around it. He did not need every victim to be foolish. He only needed them to accept the oldest luxury in the world, the comfort of not checking. Thanks for watching. If this gave you a sharper view of wealth, power, and survival, like the video and subscribe for more from the Aurelius Method. I am Saul, and I will see you in the next video. Tell me in the comments, what is more dangerous in finance, a convincing liar, or a room full of powerful people who do not want to look suspicious?